The Packers were coming off of a disappointing loss to the Browns, and I thought they'd have a little more to prove, a little more punch, a little more something. And as you said, that all turned when the Cowboys do the bang-bang 2 touchdowns at the end of the half. But their offense is good enough, but their defense is problematic as well last night.
Yeah.
They were dominant against the Lions. I mean, think about it. This is a team that held the Lions to, what was the score?
3-6.
It was under 10 points, wasn't it?
Right.
And 40 last night to the Cowboys. It feels like something happened after that Washington game.
27-13.
27-13. Okay, something happened after that Washington game where, okay, this defense is getting figured out or whatever the case may be. But that's got to be cause for concern for the Packers. The Cowboys come out of this looking like a better team than we expected, and the Packers now, less than 2 weeks after one of their starters on offense is talking about going undefeated, they're 2-1-1, and you got to wonder how good they really are.
You don't mess with the football guys. We've learned that lesson a few times here this year so far. You just don't make comments like that, But at the end of the day, I think Green Bay is still really good. Their biggest thing is they let a game last week slip away in Cleveland, where their defense did play well. They played a great defense in Cleveland, and like we saw last night, messed up some situational football in the Cleveland game that ultimately blew it for them. They were going to win the game if Jordan Love doesn't throw an interception late in the fourth quarter and give them the ball at the 4-yard line to where Cleveland finally gets in to score a touchdown. So I still like everything I see about Green Bay. But the offense, as explosive as it is and all the things you talked about, they were up 13-2, had the ball a few times with a chance to go, ooh, you could really put Dallas in a tough spot in the second quarter. They didn't come through in those moments. There's a part about them that I love because they're extremely explosive and aggressive in the pass game. They're patient and physical in the run game, but they do sometimes lose my phrase is always the surgicality element, right? It's almost like, if he doesn't hit the big throw here, they don't seem the team that's going to go 7 here, 6 here, 5 here and do that. It's all predicated on, can we get that one big play to jumpstart the drive? And because of that, at times, they can be a little sloppy and inconsistent. And that's where also I think Matt LaFleur and having to manage Jordan Love. Jordan Love is he's not the top guys yet. He's not the machine that you can just trust in every situation, right? I think that's how I look at it. He's got a chance to get there, and he's got incredible talent. But by what we saw at the end of the half, again, Matt LaFleur has to manage the situation and also help Jordan Love in that situation. We know Jordan Love's going to sit back there and pat the ball and hold back there as long as possible. And sometimes you got to save the player from himself in those type of situations. And he was looking to throw the ball down the field again in that moment. Or like we saw at the end of the game, very relaxed, lucky to get that throw off. That's something I think they need to tinker with a little bit here as they go forward.
That's a great point. What do you do as a practical matter to get the guy to become the guy that he could be?
Right.
If there was just a little more, is it awareness? Is it to date an inability? And I want to use the right word because I don't know where the switch is that needs to be flipped.
I think it's
what switch needs to be flipped?
Experience still, right? Maybe some moments like we saw last week in the Browns game and last night that hit home and go, damn, that was big there. I got to kind of readjust how I think here in certain moments and how I play. You can't just go out there all the time and go, I'm going to be aggressive. I'm going to let it fly. There's moments like in Green Bay, like in Cleveland last week, and you just go, hey, sometimes the defense wins. We're going to have to punt. We're going to have to live to play another day, and we're going to move on like that. And they have a tendency to kind of push the envelope a lot at times, and we've seen it bite them in the butt a little bit last year and this year.
Let me throw this at you.
Yeah.
Because I love the psychological elements of quarterbacks and coaching quarterbacks. Is it, and I don't want to put this on Matt LaFleur, but I think back to the audible thing. When Aaron Rodgers got there, there was the tug of war between how much micromanagement of the quarterback was going to happen from the coach.
Right.
Is it possible that the quarterback is being managed to an extent where the quarterback just says, fine, I just work here. I mean, you just tell me what to do and I'll do it. And if you're too much in the mindset of you just tell me what to do and I'll do it, opportunities to take initiative take a back seat to, hey, he didn't tell me to do that. I'm just doing what he tells me to do.
Ownership, right? I guess that's what we're talking about. Yeah, I think there's part of that where if I look at Jordan Love, that's another part of his game that can go up. He's very relaxed. He's calm. He's always like this. But as we've seen, we've talked about this with Justin Herbert. You got to yell at some guys every now and then. You got to show an edge, right? You got to be the guy. You can't always have the coach in your talent. Sometimes you got to be the guy in the huddle and go, hey, guys, blah, blah, blah. You catch a ball here, get down. We got to spike the ball. You got to be on top of those things and take your game as far as the mental aspect, like we see a lot of the great ones who are basically extensions of coaches on the field, right? I think that's the feeling we get when you watch Mahomes, Burrow, Josh Allen, where they know the situations exactly, and therefore they've not only practiced them, talked about it with the coach, but they're in the game in such a capacity and obsessed with it that they just know how to handle all those situations the right way, too. And I think that's still young in Jordan Love, and I think we can't forget that. It's only been a year and a half, really, of him starting and playing good football. The injuries last year set him back a little bit. He's got big-time talent, but there's some things he's got to smooth out.
Well, and he was stuck for 3 years as a bystander to the whole Aaron Rodgers front office dysfunction, and you just wonder how much of that. Like, he went 3 years knowing his place, and I know my place. And at some point, yeah, there needs to be something to get him to take charge.
Right.
Like Jim Harbaugh has done with Justin Herbert. There's got to be a kick in the butt to get this thing started so he is next level, because the physical skills are there. I mean, last night, 31 for 43, 337 yards, 3 touchdowns. Right. Offense was clicking. Romeo Doubs has clearly become his guy. 3 touchdown catches for Romeo Doubs, and that's basically a footnote because there's so many other issues to talk about from that game. But they still are lacking Christian Watson, and Jalen Reed is injured, and there have been questions about how effective the
run game
weapons
hasn't been
are.
Killer awesome so far.
Josh Jacobs ended up with 86 yards last night and a couple of touchdowns and 71 receiving yards, so he had a big night. The offense was rolling.
The offense was really good.
But, you just got to finish. It felt inevitable they were going to score a touchdown and win that game. And how many drives do we see just kind of peter out the closer you get to the end zone? And I don't know. I guess it's because the field just starts to shrink. The over-the-top stuff's gone. So the closer you get, you've got 22 guys packed in a tighter and tighter and tighter space. And I think you just become conscious of the clock and the downs and the 3 and the 7 or 6 it would be, because it would have been over if they had scored 6. But the whole thing felt like it went from clicking and clicking and clicking on that last drive of overtime to cautious and careful until
they got
stupid
down
clock
there.
management thing. But
Right. Well, I think they got down there like you said, and they get down there, and then you want to score a touchdown, but at the same time you're going, we don't want to mess this up and make a mistake in the red zone. It's to what you're talking about. It's tough. The room for error is minimal, and the windows to throw the ball are minimal. The biggest thing is, the safeties don't have to back up, right? There's nothing they're worried about. So they can sit there and break on anything kind of in front of them or parallel to them, and that's what makes it tough in the red zone.
When you look at I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I want to say this before I forget about it. When you look at the play call that came before the tick, 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 and the throw to the end zone that left them with 1 second, I almost wonder whether or not the Packers were hyper aware of the whole late game. Like, if we're going to kick a field goal here, we don't want Brandon Aubrey to be one completion away from a 70-yarder and we lose.
Right.
And the kickoff rules, that's the biggest unintended consequence. I think it dramatically alters those late game strategies. And I just wonder if the Packers may have outsmarted themselves thinking, okay, we're going to score a touchdown or win, or we're going to end up kicking a field goal. And if we end up kicking a field goal, we want there to be no time on the clock.
Yeah, sure.
There's almost they almost got their wish a little too more too more strongly. But I just wonder, because it seemed like a weird play call there. The little pass to the flat. Now, I mean, Jordan Love was looking to go farther down the field.
You don't throw that ball.
Up,
that throw is pointless. Those are things we're talking about. Little things.
So what should he have done instead of making
just throw it away? The 4 yards is not worth the time, right? The hell with the 4 yards.
Just throw it out of bounds.
Throw it out of bounds. Hey, now we have 2 more shots to throw the ball in the end zone instead of just the 1, right? Those are, again, I'm glad you brought that up, because those are the little things that he needs to get better at, let alone the urgency there after making that completion. It's like, I was sitting there, and I at first was like, do they think this is the Super Bowl and this is going to go over to the next quarter? Like, do they think this is Chiefs 49ers? I really said that out loud. I was like, what are they doing? And then, again, I use the word urgency because just like the end of the first half, they say said hut, and he's relaxed like, well, let me see if I can buy some more time, to where you're going, oh my gosh, throw the ball away or throw it into the end zone, or you're not going to have time to kick that field goal. So those are the things that I think, yes, he could be better at, and then Matt LaFleur can help him too. And those are things where the coach can get in your ear. John Gruden would have been in my ear. And been, well, he might have said a few.
He would have been more than
words,
in your ear.
But he would have been.
He'd have been in something
hey, we're
else.
Taking a shot at the end zone or throw it away, right? You got to throw those reminders out there every now and then, just to the quarterback. The quarterback's got a lot to think about, and the emotions of the game. And by quarterback standards, he's making the right play there by throwing the ball in the flat. And most of any time, anywhere, but not in that moment right there. That's why we call it situational football, and you got to do things a little differently there. And of course, they were dancing the fine line of danger there.
You know, he was drafted in 2021. He's only been playing for a few seasons now. For some guys like Tua, he just kind of is where he is, and he's not going to get much better,
right.
And who knows how much worse. But we've kind of discovered the ceiling. Where's the ceiling?
I know.
Where do you think the ceiling is for Jordan Love?
I think Jordan Love can be top 5, 6-ish, like in that conversation, right? I do. I think he's got the talent to be one of the best quarterbacks in football. I'm not sure if I see the ceiling to be like Josh Allen, Lamar, Mahomes, right? We know that's a special group there. But could he learn to play in a way where it's maybe more like Joe Burrow, where he can be surgical? I make a play with my legs every now and then, but I'm all over every situation, and I'm accurate as hell and dicing you up. I don't know if he's going to get that accuracy like a Burrow has, but something along those lines. I think he does have that talent to be right on the fringe of that. I think that's kind of how I look at it.
You just got to iron out the things that will resonate after a game, like the throw against Cleveland.
Yes.
Forget about anything you
Right.
did. And it's not like they had 40 points against the Browns. They only had 10. But that throw becomes the thing that fans point to and say, we're paying him too much money.
Right. He's supposed to come through in those moments.
He's got to come through.
Right.
You can't be the reason we lost the game.
To the game
right.
where we control.
You got to be the reason we win, not the reason we lose.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.